can't remember your name.
You have so many people that are kind of missing from last year's defense, but does that necessarily have to be a bad thing?
It doesn't have to be. It's a stressful thing when, we've got a lot of newcomers that in a lot of positions, especially defensively. And, as a coach, it's a challenge. You like experience coming back, but, it's not necessarily the newcomers, the freshmen, the JCs, but it's their backups. A lot of that guys didn't play. We basically played the same front all year, didn't rotate enough because we didn't feel like those guys were ready. And in the back end, we didn't play a lot of guys. So those guys don't have a lot of experience. So, we got to do a good job of getting the guys ready and putting them through adversity and testing them, but at the same time, getting them to a point where they believe in what we're doing and believe in themselves.
Is that where your few veterans that are back play a big role in teaching them to return back to the 3-4 and getting a defense they feel they play better in than the 4-3?
Well, I don't know necessarily, whether you play better in a 3-4 or a 4-3. The bottom line is you execute the call, you play hard, and play for each other. We've got to have leadership step up. The one thing, our vocal leader that communicates and kind of gets everybody calmed down. Deontay is out, so Kevin Davis is kind of a little bit more in that role, and it's usually a linebacker in that position. The secondary, Jake Slager is a veteran guy that's played a lot, but has been special teams, so he's trying to figure out what to do. He's not a guy that's vocal, but it will come in time. That will happen. Who steps up, who that guy is, and hopefully it's one of our players. If not, it's got to be Coach Engel and his staff giving that message of this is what it's going to take to be successful defensively.
Mike, I know it's obviously very, very early, but are you seeing the growth out of the quarterbacks from what they've done since the end of spring? Are you sensing that any as you go into these first two practices here and what you see them doing on the field?
I think it's too early right now to tell. One, because you're installing and throwing a bunch at it, not really concerned of trying to get the best play versus the defense. We're trying to get defenses, different formations and looks and run schemes, and we're trying to run, so it's not we're working this concept versus this coverage. So, there's a lot of things that we've got installed yesterday that really weren't good fits for some of the stuff they had in, but you can judge them on how they take care of the ball when we don't have a great play called versus a certain defense, because that's going to happen. You'd like to have answers every time, but sometimes it's just a play that's not that good, and you've got to take care of the ball and use your legs to get positive yards or get us in the right play. We will be better at that position because of year two and understanding why we're doing things, but it's still too early to tell.
Did you get Fatone to, because like you mentioned, he had rust when he came to you in the spring. Do you feel like you knocked that off and you've got him to a point now where he can really push Nick and give you the competition that the reason why you brought him in?
I do. The rust is a little bit off of him. We're still a little bit shaky in the passing game. I would attribute that to some of the decisions we're making at quarterback, but also there's a lot of guys that are playing that don't have a lot of experience. You got Xavier out with an injury right now. You've got BC injured, who's very limited. And then you've got all these newcomers. You've got guys in roles that hadn't played a lot, so we're not as crisp as where we need to be in the throwing game. I mean, it's a 12-yard route, we run at 10. It's a slant, we're breaking it off too early. It's just little things that I believe we understand in the quarterback room where a guy's supposed to be, but we're not where we're supposed to be at the receiver. Now, tight ends, I really believe they're doing a really good job of being where they're supposed to be. Danny and Nolan and Frackle, they kind of understand. And Dalton's a smart kid, but receiver, we're not tied together yet. So it's kind of hard to judge, is the quarterback rusty, where we've got to get on the same page with the wideouts.